Hello, it's been a while. I was on, I guess, vacation, kind of. I went to Whistler in Canada, which was fun. Got some skiing in. The snow wasn't the best, but it was still, I still had a lot of fun. And figured I haven't streamed in a while, so I'm just gonna do it. Today I wanted to work on flake8. I made a release last night, which I don't know, I stayed up way too late because I made the release and then I realized that there were problems with it, and then I went to fix the problems, and it was a lot of work. But once that was out, I was happy with it. Although there's been a bunch of regressions, some of them are my fault, some of them are not my fault, but what are you gonna do? I've already made 2 bug fix releases, and I'm gonna make another one tonight. Wanted to try and fix one more bug before releasing. I don't even know if you guys can see this because the text size is tiny. But there is a stack trace that happens. Go away. Why would you do that? There's a stack. This is so bad. Okay, there we go. There's a stack trace that happens when you have a specific plugin installed, and I think I can make flake8 just not load that plugin. At least that's the goal. That's what I'm going to work on. And go from there. I think I'm going to start posting my stream videos to YouTube as well. So, hi YouTube. Probably not going to do any editing because editing's a lot of work. But anyway, let's get started. So the basic problem here, let's see if I can make it happen. Flake8 per file ignores. So there's this plugin that up until the current version of flake8, it implemented a per file ignore system, which looks something like, you'd have your flake8 configuration, and you'd say per file ignores, and you'd have like file 1, and then a code, file 2, and a code. And this would say like only ignore this in this specific file. But in the latest version of flake8, we've added this to core, and so now this this option is there by default. Unfortunately, when you install flake8 per file ignores and flake8, it looks like they've intentionally put a less than here because 3.7 breaks it. They intentionally? Yeah, let's see. Anyway, I'm gonna try and make it not crash. This is gonna happen, but right now it crashes like this with the option conflict error, and I'm gonna see what I can do to make that not happen. I think this is in here. So I'm gonna be the first to admit I don't understand the flake8 codebase all that well. I've made a bunch of fixes to it, like added some tests to it, but I'm still learning in the same way that anyone else would contributing to this. I just happen to have the keys to release it, so I guess maybe I know a little bit more than others, but not exactly. So it looks like this is the place where we're loading plugin entry points. let's just print them and see what happens. Okay, so we get lots and lots of plugins here. This is the one that we want to ignore. It looks like it's the first one, which makes this convenient. Oops, that's not my debugger. Bars, so it'll be dot name. Okay, so we can key off of the name being per file ignores or module name being this object name. Okay. Let me look at their setup to Py and see if this name has ever changed or if that's good enough to key off of. What is this? Did I look at this last stream? Maybe I looked at this last stream. Function decorator that rewrites. Oh yeah, I did. I did look at this last stream. So apparently the same person has implemented Go2 in Python. So good job to them. Oh man. Okay. Okay, so it looks like it was set in the initial commit of the code and has never changed. So that's a good enough thing to key off of. Per file ignores. Guess I'd wanna like raise a warning or something. If there's precedence for warnings. Log.warning. I wonder if that shows up by default. So that'll solve the stack trace at least. But it looks like log.warning does not show up. Just show a -v. Yeah, there's a... That's not ideal. Do we use the warnings module? Let me try with the warnings module. I wouldn't import like this in reality, but since I'm just trying stuff. Warning subclass not stir. Did I do this in the wrong order? Okay, so we could do that. Maybe something like this? Right. Oh, let's see. That's kind of gross though. I'll just do log.warn. What do I want to call this? Graceful ignore this thing. Oh, and I didn't. Usually I put a cloth under my keyboard so it's not so loud, so sorry about the keyboard noise. Rip the recording, I guess. Oh, that's not gonna work. This isn't GitHub, it's GitLab. Although, somewhat... What? Oh, I'm not logged in. Somewhat ironically, I use GitHub to log into GitLab. Let's just keep coming back. Oh, right. I failed the linters, almost certainly. I didn't bother trying to run them. Hey, linter succeeded. Really? Oh, it changed it. It definitely changed it. Oh, I pushed the wrong place. Whoops. Oh well. Okay, so that's a pretty simple change that'll make it less painful, I guess. What else was I gonna do? I don't even remember now. Issues? This button. Yeah, this guy asked a question I don't know the answer to, unfortunately. So there's this extend ignore option, which allows you to add things you're going to ignore to the default ignore list. And by default, both of these are ignored, but what this person wants is to only ignore one of them, but keep the rest of the ignore list. And I suspect there isn't a way to do what he wants, or he or she wants today. Other than like duplicating the default ignore list. And I think what they're saying is reasonable down here. They're like, I used select, but why does that turn it into ignore? Like it kind of... to me, it feels like it should have been ignored, or it should have been selected if you explicitly turned it on, and by default it's ignored. But I don't think there's a setting for that. What is this? This selected? There's implicitly and explicitly selected. Where is this coming from anyway? Determine if we need to use enum34. I think that ship has long since sailed. This is saying. I think this is saying that coverage decreased because it definitely did decrease. But that's fine. Like, this line is not intended to be covered. Okay, so this seems to be one of these tests is testing the behavior that this person is asking about. I'm not quite sure which one, but one of them. Explicitly selecting an error. Select list, enable extensions. Code. I don't know how ignored explicitly and implicitly happens. Select dot implicitly if the select list is empty. Oh, I see. So if it's not selected, it's ignored implicitly. But if it's in the ignore list, it gets ignored explicitly. So in order to fix, they would probably need to they would need to handle that differently. Okay, well I'm gonna merge this, even though I would probably want to wait for the other maintainer. But I kind of want to make a release. No, I don't want notifications. The source branch head has changed recently. Please reload. Let's reload the page for me. Red merge button. That's because the diff coverage changed. What are you mad about? Oh, that's the one I'm looking at. Alright, fuck it. Merging. Okay, so I think the only other thing that I could do is make the error message for profile ignores to be slightly better. That was the other thing I was gonna do. Trying to figure out whether I can use an exception type to do something. Do we ever call exit somewhere? Seems not. Hmm. So now we need to break it and show what it looks like, I guess. So somebody this morning had this as their profile ignores. Something like this. This is slightly better. If I do this, it'll... Remote mirror update failed. That's weird. Apparently GitLab failed to sync the code to GitHub. Oops, I forgot the format. Where did the indentation go? Oh, I guess setup tools probably stripped it. That's the file. I actually think this output's not that bad. Doesn't tell them how to fix the error so much. Guess I can improve on that message though. Where's the Thank you, Project DP, for following. Every follow counts. Didn't have my dashboard set up correctly. I hope it showed up. Assume it did. Nice, cool. How's your Wednesday evening going, or whatever time it is where you are? Nice. Yeah, I guess I recently got off work as well. I got home about, I don't know, an hour or so ago. busy day at work. But what are you gonna do? Oh, this error message is better, but I wish it were slightly better. I guess I could like indent this. What am I working on here? So the latest version of flake8. Is this one new enough? No. The newest version of flake8 I released yesterday, and it had some issues, I guess. Among some of them is this really ugly stack trace when you have a thing misconfigured. So I'm trying to make this ugly stack trace less ugly. This is how this is my progression so far. It started as this, and now I have this instead. Which I think is better, but it's not like the best it could be. Yeah, I mean, it's an improvement. I kind of want to like indent this. Oh goodness. That'll add trailing white space. So now if I have a multi-line one. Okay. I think I like that. Although this information I think is more important than this, so let's reorder that. Reordering these things. Actually, I don't even know that this is useful information at all. I think I can just cut that out. I'll keep this function here. Now I have too many line breaks. I really want this to fit here, but it doesn't. It's fine. Okay, so now I kind of want to test this, but it's not... I guess I can write an integration test. I want to figure out how it handles this first. Self.catastrophic failure is true. What class is this? Application? I'm just going to set up a little test harness in a temporary directory and then run the application. E501 is the line is too long, because this line is way too long. Oh, I think I have tests that check for value error. I don't know what this error in the middle is, though. Oh. It's reading my tux.ini that I messed up intentionally. That looks better. Oh, PyTest has started printing out deprecation warnings for Python 2. Cool. Hunters failed. Missing docstring. Oh, make me write a docstring for a test. Test the error message for malformed profile ignores. Seems good. Sweet. Just added a quick type indentation here. We're not actually checking with MyPy yet in flake8, but the plan is to eventually hook that up. Oops. I ran my GitHub comparison script and it just kind of produces nonsense for GitLab URLs. But it's muscle memory, I always type that. This one issues, this one's issues. What is going on? Oh, this is not... I was like, I'm pretty sure we have issues. They're in the other thing. Issue and error, no. Backtraces. 489. Yeah, I would really love if this sidebar stayed away, but apparently not. I need this sidebars for a second though. Milestone. Just constantly fighting with the sidebars here. Oh, I have it open already. Cool. That looks good. Check on the diff, make sure it looks alright. Even though I already looked at it in the terminal. Basically just making an error with the indented value, swapping out the old value errors, writing out a quick test for it. That looks fine. And this looks fine. Now we just wait for it to go green, and then we merge. So I was making jokes about taxes on Twitter. Wild idea, but hear me out. What if instead you made a recurring donation on a yearly basis based on your income? It's taxes, kids. Taxes. Did this finish? Nice. Okay, I think with that out of the way, I think I can make a release now. Kind of answering this guy's question about select and ignore, because I don't really know the right answer here. Basically, the way I'm thinking is there's kind of 4 states right now. One is you select something on the command line, or it's selected by default, or it's ignored on the command line, or it's ignored by default, or it's in kind of a gray area where it's not selected and that means it gets ignored anyway. Today, the only thing that ends up being implicitly ignored is the things that aren't selected at all. But what this person is asking for is if it's explicitly selected, then it probably should show up. Unfortunately, the explicitly ignored overrides the explicitly selected, so it doesn't get shown up today. Ideally, like there's another option of like adding some other setting, but I don't really want to do that or think about that. It's a lot to wrap my head around. Did I merge this already? Yeah. Yes, I did. Okay, I think with that, I can make a release which fixes these problems that we've collected. How do I go to the milestone? No, I do actually want this milestone. Milestones. 4 issues and 3 merge requests. That's not the right number. Should be 4 and 4. What is going on here? Alright, we're gonna make this bigger. Should have done that a while ago. Command line, parsing stack trace, statistics, which I fixed, Python 3.5, which I fixed, and profile ignores. Are there only 3? Profile ignores. What? Oh, the statistics one is missing. So now this milestone should list everything. It does. And then I make a release. Let's see. The last one was 372, which had a few fixes in it too. These are the files I need to edit. First by doing that, then by changing this, then we'll copy this over. It's the 3rd release today. Today's still the 30th, right? Yes. And you need to update. That's milestone 26. This feels a little bit over, what's the word? A little bit tedious. Tedious isn't quite the word, but feels like a lot of work to make a release. That's what I'm saying. 294. it 294? Yes. And the issue is 498. I'll fix these links at the bottom in a bit. That one was 295. And 499. $297? What happened to 296? What was 296? Oh, 296, someone fixed a typo, right. Silly. Silly PR. But, good they fixed the typo. And the last one is produce a better error message. That was one I just merged. 298. And last but not least, 489. Okay, so now we need to order these ones. 489, 89. '95, 98, and 99. Oh, that's 98 again. And then the PRs are 294, 295, 4578. Five, 7, and 8. Alright, so I think that's the changelog. Make sure I changed all 3 of these. Oh, I didn't. That's what I forgot last time. Although I forgot this one last time, I think. Supposed to run all of these environments before I release, just to make sure things aren't super broken. These take a while, but it's fine. Better to be safe than sorry, I guess. I should really hook up pre-commit with this project. I mean, pre-commit is hooked up in that you can use it as a hook, but hook it up as the linting utility, because there's been a bunch of times where I'll push to origin and tests will just be horribly broken. Alright, let me double check the issues, see if there wasn't anything else that I wanted to fix in this release. And then I'll push the button. see, this one, I don't know that there's anything to fix. It seems like it's kind of by design. So this is asking for if multiple per file ignorers match a single file, they should all apply. And Ian, the other maintainer, implemented it in a different way. It's the first one that applies gets used, which I think is fine, but it means that the semantics of this changed from the plugin to this, which is ever so slightly different and to at least confuse this person. But I don't know that behavior, that will change that behavior. This changed from the plugin as well. In the plugin, if there was never an ignored error from per file ignores, that was an error itself, so it forced you to clean up the stuff. I think it's a good idea, but it's more than a bug fix kind of dealio. So won't be doing that. And other than that, this was more of a question and not really new. And we covered all these other things. But yeah, there was quite a few things to fix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8. 8 microbugs. Well, some of them bigger than microbugs in the release. Not great. But I've been improving the testing situation of flake8 a lot, so hopefully these kinds of bugs are reduced in the future. And some of these problems weren't with flake8, some of them were with PyFlakes or PyCode style. Like this weird one. Apparently this file makes PyFlakes mad. I actually couldn't figure out why. Like, I couldn't figure out, it seemed to be that both of the decorators were required and this specific ordering was required, but I couldn't quite figure out why, and so I just I gave up on trying to explain it and just fixed it instead. The bug was this scope would return something that wasn't a nameable object, and so this attribute would crash here. But if it forces it to be an import from, then this is no longer a crash. And there was another PyFlakes bug. This one was not a big deal, but very, very slight problem. Really out there? Why? So weird. I'm gonna go rebase that branch. Because my other branch to PyFlakes is fine, but this one is not. Do a trivial amend. And hopefully that just magically fixes this. Because for some reason, this one is fine, but this one is not. Hopefully that fixes it. Oh yeah, and the bug here was the line number of the comment syntax error was off by 1, or off by however many the previous node. Like this comment would report this node as its offset. It's wrong, but easy fix. And then there's this other bug which I don't know how to fix. I don't know enough about the doc testing stuff of PyFlakes, but this crash happens if you turn on doc testing. And those are the errors, the regressions that I know about. Is there one with PyCode style also? I think, maybe? I don't think so. No. Anyway, that's that. Let's do the release part. So start by making a commit and tox-e release, which will build the source distribution in the wheel and then ask me to upload it, and then enter a password. Then we'll make a tag, 3.7.3. Have to enter in my GPG key password. And then push the tags. And so that's that. That's how I release flake8, I guess. Oh, and then I usually go through and let people know that I made a release. I will get some copy pasta going. This is me, so I'm not going to tell me about this. This one is also me. Little tiny pleasantries to hopefully make people feel better about opening issues and stuff. I actually know this guy. I used to work with Breets. But apparently some of the types in typing are not available in really old versions of Python 3.5. And I either forgot or didn't know. The probable answer is that I just forgot, but the funny thing is the executable that they're running 3.5.1 on Ubuntu Trusty, which is fast approaching end of life. The funny thing is when I used to work at Yelp, I actually built that backport, so it's kind of my fault that they're running such an old version, but what are you gonna do? But that's that. See if no, this didn't fix it. Did I push? Did I? Yeah, I did. I don't know why this is failing. and why my other PR did just fine there. Oh, this PR didn't run app fair. Haha, sneaky. I wonder why that is. It's weird. But anyway, I'm tired. I'm gonna sign off. But thank you all for coming out, and have a good day.